We had a great time fishing with Chris and the guys. Tons of fun catching big salmon. If you haven't got a chance to watch that video, you can check it out right here. Here. Okay. Anyways, check it out right here. And we had a ton of fun again. We want to thank them for taking us out. One of the best things, though, about that trip is when you get back and you've got loads of salmon. Now what do you do with it? One of my favorite things is actually smoking salmon. So we're going to go over a quick recipe on how to smoke the salmon. First of all, to get the process to work the best, you need to brine the salmon. And what that does is it's going to draw out some of the extra moisture out of the fish and also make it easier for the smoke flavor to penetrate. And on top of that, it's going to impart some flavor to the fish itself based on what you put in it. Now, the process that I use for brining is called a dry brine. Basically, it takes 3 dry ingredients. You mix them together and put it on the fish, and that'll start to draw the moisture out of the fish. Once it draws the moisture out, that mix together of liquid plus the dry ingredients turns into a liquid brine that the fish will then soak in for the next day or so. The length of time that you want to brine it is really up to you. Some people do 12 hours, some people do 24, 48. I've talked to people that will leave it in the brine for 3 or 4 days. It just kind of depends on what you're looking for, how much salt and flavor you want imparted into that fish, how much you want it to taste like the natural fish beforehand. For today, we're doing 3 half fillets of salmon, and so I mixed 3/4 of a cup of each brown sugar, white sugar, and kosher salt, mixed it together, put it on the salmon, put it in a container, and put it in the fridge. And about every 4 or 5 hours, I'll just flip it, turn it, and then come back to it the next day. I went ahead and let this brine for about 48 hours. And now what we're going to do is take it out of the brine, rinse it completely off. Just don't tell the wife I'm going to use the lawn furniture to rinse off the sugar mixture here. And then let it sit to start to air dry a little bit. You want to get some of that moisture off with a paper towel and then let air just start getting to that surface, and it's going to create what's called the pellicle, which is basically a thin crust that smoke will adhere to. It's probably going to take about 2 to 3 hours for that to form. Make sure flies aren't getting on it. In the meantime, you can put a fan on it to speed up the process, and then we'll be ready for smoking. Now I'm going to be smoking with applewood chips, so I took some applewood and I went ahead and soaked it overnight so you can get a lot of moisture in there. That'll create a ton of smoke. If you put it on there dry, it's just going to burn and it's not going to impart the flavor that you're wanting. Here we go. Welcome to Hillbilly Land and the Hillbilly Land Smoker. Looks pretty, but she works. Now we're going to get the charcoal started. We're going to go ahead and put our applewood chips on there and get some smoke going. I went ahead, used some aluminum foil to make a little container to put the soaked applewood chips in. The salmon's been drying for about 2 hours now, and you'll see it's kind of lost that shiny look. It's kind of got more of a matte, sticky film to it. And these could actually stand to probably go for another hour or so, get a little bit more firm, but I'm running out of daylight, so we're going to go ahead and get these on the smoker and get it started. Place these as far away from the heat source as possible for right now. We don't want them to cook quickly. We just want that smoke to roll across it, come through here, come out the vent, and just flavor it. And we're going to hope to keep that at about 150 to 160 degrees. You're going to need to smoke it for about 1 to 3 hours depending on the thickness of the fillets. What you're looking for is an internal temperature of 140 degrees in the thickest part of the salmon. That's when you're going to know that it's done, smoked, ready to go. Alright, so we hit 140 degrees. May have taken us until 2 o'clock in the morning. Hey, that's the hard part with the charcoal, but anyways, 140 degrees now. We're going to take these off, let them rest, cool down a little bit, and then we'll take care of them in the morning. Alright, so here we go. A big old plate of great smoked salmon straight from Lake Michigan. Really easy recipe, just several steps that you have to pay attention to throughout the process. But the final test, of course, gotta try it. No, just kidding. It's great. Now, if you're not a big fan of fishy fish, which a lot of salmon and trout can be really fishy, one big thing that I would highly recommend, when you get this off the grill, let it cool down for a while, and then you'll find out that the meat will separate from the skin extremely easy. when you flip it over, you're going to notice a lot of gray meat, is what I call it. On a fresh fillet, it actually looks red. It looks like there's blood in that meat that's real close to the skin. You'll notice a lot of that gray meat right up tight to the skin. What I like to do is to go ahead and take a knife and just gently rub across the grain. You'll find out that that gray meat just wipes right off. That's where all that really strong fishy flavor is. And if you've got somebody that doesn't like fishy fish, or if you don't like it, as soon as you get rid of that gray meat, all of that fishy flavor is gone, and you're just left with great salmon with a nice smoked taste, nice sweet, salty, cure mixture, and it turns out great. Now we'll go ahead and take these smaller portions, and we're going to go ahead and vacuum seal them and put them in the freezer, and that way we can enjoy it throughout the year. So, how to smoke salmon? Pretty easy. I'd recommend you start a little bit earlier than 8 o'clock at night. Otherwise, you're going to be doing it by flashlight, but hope you like it.